His Excellency and invite him to address the Assembly.
Madam President of the General Assembly, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in Bulgaria, we carry a simple truth at the heart of our identity. Unity makes strength. These words are more than motto. They are a legacy born of struggle and solidarity. They echo through our history, from the forging of our independence to the building of our democratic institutions. And today, in a world shaken by division and conflicts, this principle feels more urgent than ever. The challenges we face, from contested global narratives and eroding trust in international institutions to stalled development, financial instability, and shrinking humanitarian space, do not respect borders. They demand a united response. Bulgaria's creed is a message we offer to the world, that the hope lies not in isolation, but in coming together. Bulgaria reaffirms its commitment to effective multilateralism and to the rules-based international order with the United Nations at its core. For 80 years, the UN has been a beacon of hope, a platform for dialogue and peace. And this year, in 2025, Bulgaria marks 70 years of membership. Over 7 decades, Bulgaria has stood alongside fellow member states in pursuit of the UN's founding ideals, contributing to peacekeeping, sustainable development, and the protection of human rights. As we celebrate this milestone, we renew our pledge to the UN Charter and to a future defined not by division, but by unity and strength it brings. For the UN to meet the test of our time, reform is not a choice, but an imperative. Bulgaria fully supports the Secretary General's UN80 initiative for mandate reviews, structural reform, and more effective use of resources. Equally urgent is completing ongoing reforms in development, management, peace and security, and advancing the humanitarian reset for stronger, locally led action with sustainable financing. At institutional level, we believe that the Security Council must be reformed to reflect today's world more effective, more representative, more accountable. We need genuine progress, including a fairer balance in membership, one additional non-permanent seat be allocated to the Eastern European group, and limits on the misuse of the veto. The General Assembly must remain the heart of the organization, where our shared forum for dialogue and decision-making. Excellencies, ever since the adoption of the UN Charter, international peace and security have never been more threatened. Russia's full-scale war of aggression against Ukraine, with its far-reaching global repercussions, represents an existential challenge to the rule-based international order. This is not merely a European conflict. It threatens the very legitimacy of the United Nations. It's utterly unacceptable that a founding UN member with a permanent Security Council seat wages war while disregarding international humanitarian and human rights law. In recent weeks, Russia is escalating and conducting flagrant violation of EU member states and NATO allies, sovereign airspace by drones and planes. These actions demonstrate that Russia is the one undermining the prospects of peace. These actions cannot be tolerated and are meeting our strong collective resolve and response. The only path to peace is clear. Ukraine's sovereignty must be respected and its territorial integrity fully restored. A full, immediate, and unconditional ceasefire is essential. The need for urgent action is clear in the Middle East. The brutal Hamas attack on 7 October 2023 and the devastating conflict that followed have caused immense human suffering. Bulgaria mourns the loss of every innocent life, Israeli and Palestine alike. In Gaza, tens of thousands of civilians have been killed, neighborhoods destroyed, and countless people displaced. We must not allow this tragedy to leave a permanent scar on humanity's conscience. A sustainable ceasefire and credible political process are urgently needed. Only a two-state solution grounded in international law and mutual recognition can secure a just and lasting peace, allowing Israelis and Palestinians to live side by side in dignity and security. The crisis in the Middle East and North Africa is interconnected and threatens regional stability. Yemen faces famine and disease. Syria needs an inclusive, UN-led dialogue for democratic transition, and Sudan teeters on the brink amid ongoing fighting and mass displacement. Instability in Libya and the Sahel shows how weak institutions allow conflicts to spread. Bulgaria calls for a new regional security architecture led by UN, grounded in diplomacy, respect for sovereignty, and long-term investment in peace and development. Nuclear non-proliferation, disarmament, and arms control remain central to our collective security. We condemn rhetoric and actions that threaten stability and stress the need for renewed diplomacy. Iran must fully cooperate with the International Atomic Energy Agency and ensure the peaceful nature of its nuclear program, while all parties work to de-escalate tensions through diplomacy. Likewise, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea must dismantle its program for weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missiles in a complete, verifiable, and irreversible way in accordance with international law and treaty obligations. Distinguished delegates, Bulgaria consistently upholds the principle of United Nations at the regional level, engaging actively with the Southeastern European Cooperation Process, the Regional Cooperation Council, the Organization of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation. We prioritize good neighborliness, human rights, and the strengthening of trade, energy, transport, and digital connectivity. Bulgaria firmly supports the European integration of the Western Balkans based on the merit as the path to peace, stability, and prosperity. The Black Sea region remains strategically important for European security and energy resilience, and Bulgaria works to make it a space of stability and sustainable development. On 1 July 2025, Bulgaria assumed the chairmanship of the Southeast European Cooperation Process and the organization of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation, strengthening our leadership in advancing regional security, stability, and resilience. Bulgaria firmly believes that the human rights are universal, indivisible, interdependent, and interconnected. Our policies are grounded in this understanding, guiding our efforts to protect and promote human dignity at home and globally. As a member of the United Nations Human Rights Council for 2024-2026, Bulgaria is committed to advance human rights through dialogue and cooperation. We prioritize gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls in line with international human rights instruments and the Women, Peace and Security Agenda. In all conflict prevention, peace process, and post-conflict recovery, women must be at the center with their protection and access to justice ensured. We stress the need to empower young people, ensuring their meaningful participation in decision-making, including on climate action and heritage preservation. Ladies and gentlemen, sustainable development cannot be separated from human rights, peace, and security. We remain fully committed to implementing the 2030 Agenda and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. On 23 July 2025, Bulgaria presented its second voluntary national review at the high-level political forum, highlighting national progress, government actions, and stakeholder engagements. For the first time, Bulgaria, your delegate, contributed, sharing the perspective of young people on the implementation of the goals. We know that accelerating progress requires stronger political will, inclusive participation of civil society, academia, the private sector, and youth, and urgent action to address social, economic, and environmental challenges. We look forward to the upcoming World Social Summit, where diverse voices and all stakeholders can come together to renew the global social contract and ensure it reflects human rights for all. Financing is a key aspect of development. Adequate, predictable, and innovative resources are essential to achieve sustainable development goals. Bulgaria supports mobilizing domestic resources, engaging the private sector, and building global partnership. We welcome the first biennial summit for sustainable, inclusive, and resilient global economy, held on 24 September 2025 here in New York, which reinforced commitment from the Fourth International Conference on Financing for Development and strengthened cooperation with multilateral financial institutions. For its part, Bulgaria remains a steadfast contributor to global development. Through the National Development Programme 2030 and our development cooperation policy, we implement tangible projects and build sustainable partnership for a fairer, more balanced world. In all our efforts, we prioritize poverty eradication, sustainability, and equality, focusing on key regions, the Western Balkans, the Eastern Partnership countries, the Middle East, North African Asia, with special attention to education, health, and building resilient societies. Digital governance and new technologies are central to our efforts. Bulgaria supports inclusive, multi-stakeholder approaches to global digital governance, artificial intelligence, and space technologies, ensuring they advance the Sustainable Development Goals. We emphasize the need for open and secure internet, protection of human rights, and a digital inclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, sustainable development cannot happen without urgent climate action. Social and economic progress depends on protecting our planet. Climate-related extreme events will become more frequent and severe around the world. At the same time, Europe is the fastest warming continent, and climate risks are accelerating, threatening its energy and food security, ecosystem, infrastructure, water resources, financial stability, and people's health. The economic losses have already been estimated in billions of euros. My country, Bulgaria, is not exception, and it is among the most affected countries by droughts, forest fires, and floods. Bulgaria supports the Paris Agreement, calls for ambitious contributions at COP30, and emphasizes international cooperation to safeguard oceans manage marine resources, sustainability, and ensure long-term environmental, economic, and social resilience. Dear Excellencies, the journey ahead is long, but our resolve must be unwavering. Let us commit once again to working hand in hand to upholding the principles of UN Charter and to ensure that peace, dignity, and opportunity become a reality for every person in the world. Thank you for your attention.
Au nom de l'Assemblée générale, je remercie Monsieur le
On behalf of the General Assembly, I thank the Prime Minister of the Republic of Bulgaria. The General Assembly will now hear an address by His Excellency Mr. Abdullahi Maiga, Prime Minister, Head of Government and Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization of the Republic of Mali. I request protocol to please escort His Excellency, who I invite to address the Assembly.
Madame la Présidente,
President of the General Assembly, heads of state and government, United Nations Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen. As I begin my statement, I have the honour to extend to you the cordial greetings and the message from the founding fathers of the Alliance of Sahel States, Their Excellencies, Army General Assimi Goïta, President of Transition Head of State of Mali, and the President of the Alliance of Sahel States, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, Head of State, and Army General Abdurrahman Tiani, President of the Republic of Niger, and Head of State. I would also like to share with you the warm congratulations from the dignified people of the Alliance of Sahel States, determined more than ever to free themselves from the yoke of imperialism and enjoy their right to self-determination in a Pan-African spirit. As we wish you every success in your election to preside over this 80th session of General Assembly, Madam President, the Alliance of Sahel States would also like to congratulate your predecessor, His Excellency Mr. Philemon Yang from the Republic of Cameroon, and congratulate him on his exemplary leadership of the work of the 79th session. Finally, I wish to reiterate to our Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, reiterate our appreciation of the efforts that he continues to undertake